Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's my pleasure, my privilege, and my enjoyment to be here with you and have this time to communicate with you and convey to you my insights and inspirations of a lifetime. A lifetime that's going over 83 years. And I've been licensed as a clinical psychologist in the state of California since 1974. But I've been in the field for over 50 years now. So like I say to people, I finally know what I'm doing. That's the good news. Very important topic today. This is called The Fires of Los Angeles, the tragedy and the blessings. So we've been having these fires going all in Los Angeles. The Palisades have been totally burned up. Malibu's burned up. The whole villages are gone. We've had the smoke that's polluted that area, and air quality index will go up to 140 way down here in Whittier, much south of the area where the fires are. Air quality index will go to 140, which is very toxic, 120, 112. I suppose worse even over there. So houses totally demolished, whole town demolished, apartments, houses, property. There are people there who grew up in those homes, might have been in their family for generations. It's gone. With valuable property. Some didn't even have fire insurance because insurances were canceled for many of the properties. And some deaths as well. I mean, some people died. The last count was about 14 people died from the fires. 25. Now I'm hearing that's up to 25 now. The worst fire of my lifetime of 83 years. Sometime maybe about a century ago, close to a century ago, there was a big fire in San Francisco that destroyed San Francisco. That was, I think, with earthquake and fires. But this is just fire. And people don't know what they're going to do from here. They don't know where they're going, where they're going to relocate themselves. So part of the whole trauma is the uncertainty. Just not knowing how they're going to go next. And you have students such as Pepperdine College and other colleges in the area, universities and colleges in the area. Their apartments are gone. Their dwellings are gone. So for them to attend school, they need to be in the area. So the whole educational system is disrupted. And of course, the elementary schools. And then the tremendous economic devastation. People's businesses gone. Mom and pop operations, coffee shops, grocery stores, liquor stores, whatever, all gone. You have industries like UPS that were making deliveries to that area, a whole hub that would just service those areas. No business to be done there. There's nowhere to bring those packages. The postal office that would bring letters and packages as well. There's nowhere to bring that to now. There's no address. There's no residence. There's no commercial building there. So all of these devoted and dedicated people who made a livelihood through being professional drivers and delivery, that's gone for them. Somebody might have a job, say working at UPS for 25 years, 30 years. That hub is shut down. What's going to happen to them? A lot of uncertainties. And it's going to take a long time to rebuild, a long time. There's no question the suffering is massive. I'll read a little poem I wrote that gets at this. And I'm starting off by talking about the devastation and the tragedy, because I'm going to also go to what there's a gain. And I'm going to talk to you about how that happens. The fires of Los Angeles have been a brutal devastation to the cherished homes of so many of our people. And too many wonderful people have died. The grieving for the human loss and the grieving of the loss of homes are part of this great tragedy. The loss of many businesses, the enormous financial losses, including those of commercial drivers who delivered the needed supplies and packages to the area, are part of the consequences of these out-of-control fires. The air pollution has been devastating to the entire area. It will take many years to rebuild the area, and the reputation of the political leaders under whose administrations occurred may be unrepairable. Loss upon loss, devastation. That is a fact. It is reality. As with everything in the past, nothing can change what has already happened. While we grieve, we bury our dead and begin the process of rebuilding. We are a resilient people. We will make the best of a very bad situation. We will turn to our Creator and our spiritual nature more than ever. We will trust that good will emerge from the bad, that loss will lead to gain. We know that wisdom grows from hardship and compassion grows from suffering. And we know that we will come back much stronger than ever. So I'm beginning first with an acknowledgement of the tremendous loss and the tragedy. That's reality. That's the past. Nothing can undo it. It is what it is. And during this time, we bury our dead and we start to rebuild. Because we are a resilient people, and we will come back much stronger than ever. So how do we come back much stronger than ever? How will we get gain from the loss? So everything I'm about to say is going to be true, but in no way denies or mitigates or lessens the loss. The loss is real. But if we're really honest with ourselves, there is a gain. Really, there's a tremendous gain. And I'm going to go into that gain, but I don't mean to any way disrespect the loss that's happened or in any way try to diminish the tragedy of what has occurred. Not at all. It's in addition to the tragedy, there's a blessing, a great blessing. And we'll now talk about the blessing. But before I go into that, it's all everything I talk about for the last 20 years is based on the honor teachings. So I'm going to give the 4 commands of honor, the bridge, and a few derivatives. So the 4 commands of honor: I wish you well. I take full responsibility for co-creating my reality, my problems. I'm grateful for the power I gain from hardship. And that's very relevant. That one's especially relevant here. I'm grateful for the power I gain from hardship. We'll be gaining compassion and wisdom from this, for one. And then one of two. The fourth command of honor is one of two. If we believe in God, then God, your wish is my only wish. If a person doesn't believe in God or wish to address God, it's I seek always to serve my highest values. Now, in the way of honor, it's important to commit to doing this for the rest of our lives, 3 times a day. So I have a pledge that I administer where people commit to that, and thousands have taken this pledge. As a disciple of honor, I pledge myself all the days of my life to the 4 commands of honor, and I will teach them to those I love. I'll repeat them every morning, afternoon, and evening, and I will listen to myself recite them. So that's the foundation of turning tribulation into triumph. That's what this is about. And by the way, that's what I specialize in, transforming tribulation into triumph. Then we want to maximize the probability that we're going to apply those commands in any situation. So I created what I call a bridge. It's a bridge from the realm of reality to the realm of honor. And the bridge is this: what's the most honorable thing to think, say, and do? So you have the 4 commands, the bridge, and the pledge to do this all our lives. The results are amazing. Thousands of people have followed this way with amazing, amazing results. So that's the foundation of transforming the tribulation into triumph. That's the foundation from going from tragedy to blessing. So a derivative of what I call the warrior's command of honor. The warrior's command of honor is I'm grateful for the power I gained from hardship. I call it the warrior's command of honor. So there are a couple of derivatives. One is, what's the best true story I can tell myself about this problem? What's the best true story I can tell myself about this problem? And I hope to come back much stronger than ever. Those are two derivatives of the command of the warrior's command of honor. So let me illustrate this with some examples. I had a patient. He was a roughneck. He worked in the oil fields. Very tough job. Very macho guy, all tattered up. Big, strong-looking guy. And you could just see tears were locked behind his eyes. He just looked so stern. He said to me this, "Doc, I've lost everything. I've lost everything. My wife left me. The wife that I loved so much, she left me. She didn't just leave me. She left me for another man." I said, that's traumatic. I said to him, I know that's a huge loss. And she took my kids. I don't even know where they went. I haven't seen my kids in 3 or 4 months. I lost my wife and my kids. I said, wow. I said, I've got 7 children. That's a human being. That's brutal. He said, Doc, I was so stressed out all the time, I couldn't even do my work. I kept missing work. I lost my job. I lost everything, Doc, everything that meant something to me. I lost it all. My wife, my kids, my job, my house, everything. I said, what if I told you there's a best true story we can say about this, which will turn this tragedy into a blessing, which will give you dignity, nobility, and honor? So, wow. He said, really? I said, really? I said, you ready for the healing medicine? He said, I am. Here it is. I've lost everything, but I've gained myself. He looked at me. His face transformed. And he just lit up. And he said, I have gained myself. He was elated. I have gained myself. In fact, when he was leaving, he went to my secretary as he was leaving, and he said, you know, I've lost everything, but I have gained myself. And he was beaming. Now, he still lost his house, his job, his children, his wife. Still lost it. The loss was real. But there was the gain. There was the blessing. The tragedy and the blessing. Transforming tribulation into triumph. The loss is what it is. Now we want to make the best of it. So we look for what's the best true story I can tell myself about this problem. And we're in the midst, what I recommend to our brothers and sisters who are going through this, as I would for myself, say, I hope to come back much stronger than ever. I had a wonderful patient. She came to see me crying. She said, my son was shot. They shot him 9 times. Oh, my God. I just felt for her. I said, I have 7 children. That's the parent's worst nightmare. I said, yeah, he's in the hospital in stable condition. I just can't sleep. I can't eat. I said, as a human being, as a father, I feel tremendous compassion for you. What if I told you there's a best true story you can tell yourself about this, which will transform tribulation into triumph, which will give dignity, nobility, and honor to you and to your son. She said, Doctor, what is that? What is that? It's your best true story. I said, are you ready? She said, yes, I am. Here it is. They couldn't kill my son. They shot him 9 times. God has a purpose for his life. She looked at me. The tears stopped. Smile. God does have a purpose for his life. She walked out beaming. She had the best true story about this tragedy. Didn't change it. He was still shot 9 times. But she said, yes, God does have a purpose for his life. I told her to tell her son what I said. The next week I saw she was still beaming. I said, did you tell your son what I told you? He said, yes. He smiled. He was happy to hear this. Tell you one more little story to illustrate the point, because I don't want you to just think I talk the talk. I do walk the walk. When I was 65, which was 18 years ago, there was a little lump on my prostate cancer, so we did a biopsy. I saw a urologist in Cerritos. And I drove back. Remember the day I drove back on my motorcycle to find out what they found. But the way I dealt with it at this point, I said, God, if you want me to take me, I want to go. If this cancer, if you want me to have cancer, I want to have cancer, Lord. I really do. Let it be cancer if that's what you wish. If you want me to pass away from this life and go on from here, that's what I want. I said, but if you want me to stay here and serve you, I'd like very much to stay here and serve you as well. But Lord, if you have no preference, I prefer to not be cancer and I stay here and serve you. Well, I went there, I sat down. Seemed like an eternity till the doctor walked in the office. Sat down and said, Dr. Nerenberg, you have prostate cancer. My face went numb. And it's not a little amount, it's an intermediate amount. And somewhat aggressive, a Gleason of 7. Well, my face was a little bit numb. Then I said, Doc, that's great. He said, what? I said, that's great. I said, this prostate cancer will make me stronger, spiritually, emotionally, and physically. I'm sure I never forgot the situation. I'm sure he never forgot it. I walked outside, saw the sky and the birds and the people and the trees and the wind. I saw it like I never did before. It was more alive, more vibrant to me. I didn't know how long I was going to be on this earth. And I felt filled with love for so-called strangers walking by. To me, they weren't strangers. I know they would look at me as a stranger, but they were family to me. There wasn't that veil, that separation between us in my spirit. And I should say, at the time that I had the prostate cancer, I took the title strongest drug-free man in the world for my age and weight. Did a bench press of 365 pounds, T-bar strongman pull of 270, those world records. Later I went on to set a world record on the power pull-up, hanging 140 pounds from a chain belt and doing a pull-up. About a few months later, still had a diaper on because you're incontinent after a while. I flew to New Jersey to compete in a bench press contest in the World Natural Powerlifting Federation. Flew in on a Friday. That's the next day, Saturday, I set a world record. Flew back from New Jersey back to California. Telling you this because this is all doable, all doable. I've seen it with my people, and I've seen it with me. Take it even a step more. I remember one person that I was helping on the journey of honor. And he went through a terrible loss, horrible. And I'll tell you what it is in a minute. I said, you're going to tell me within 1 month that this horrible loss was the best thing that could have happened to you. He looked at me. He laughed, actually. What happened was he had a job for 30 years. He was a supervisor in a big security situation, a major television network. And a picture of this famous actress, her ex-boyfriend sent a naked photo of her, and all the other people that he supervised were watching it on the screen. And he saw them watching it, didn't stop it. He didn't watch it himself. He just walked away, let it go. Well, later, his superiors found out and said, you saw that and you didn't stop them? We're going to have to let you go. He said, Dr. Nerenberg, this is the biggest loss. It wasn't just the money. I'd worked there 30 years. I was about 6 weeks away from retirement. I lost my retirement benefits. I lost my insurance. I lost everything. And the respect they had, I was so respected. At Christmas, people showed me so much respect and love. I would fill up my car with all these gifts, wonderful gifts of people that looked up to me on that job. I lost all of that, the money, the respect, everything, my retirement, my health insurance, everything. I said, Jimmy, within 4 weeks, you're going to tell me that losing that job was the best thing that could ever happen to you. He did laugh. He did laugh when I said it. He said, I'm going to tell you it's the best thing that could happen to me? Yes. Within 4 weeks. Well, I was wrong. Turned out 3 weeks later, he said to me, Doc, I can't believe I'm going to say this to you. Losing that job, getting fired was the best thing that could have happened to me. He said, I've always had a good marriage. But now my wife came home from work. She said, don't think I don't notice what you're doing at home when I'm gone. You're having my meal ready, the house is cleaned, set some candles on, very romantic setting. She said, I love you. I've always loved you, but I love you more than ever. I appreciate you more than ever. She said, in 35 years of marriage, I never heard that. He said, it was worth it to lose my job for my wife to look at me and tell me that. Losing everything was the best thing that could have happened to me. So there you have it. The fires of Los Angeles, the tragedy, and the blessing. That's what I'm hoping our brothers and sisters can take these ideas, keeping in mind that they intend to come back stronger than ever. They hope to come back stronger than ever, looking for the best true story about the circumstance. And part of the Supremacy of Honor codes, there's more to it than the commands of honor and the bridge. It's also a Supremacy of Honor code. One part of the Supremacy of Honor code is honor before fear. People are very frightened right now because of the uncertainty. But they want to then do what's the most honorable thing I can think, say, and do given the situation I'm in. And things will come to you when you ask yourself that question. No matter what your situation, you've suffered a huge loss from the fires or any other situation you're in, medical, legal, whatever. You will get an answer will come to you. What is the most honorable thing to think, say, and do? And know this, every one of you will grow in wisdom from this, because without suffering, wisdom cannot grow. You cannot achieve higher states of wisdom without suffering. Impossible. Without suffering, you can't grow in compassion. Now you have an understanding for other people's loss in America and throughout the world because of what you've been going through. So tragedy. For those who believe in God, here's a thought you can use. It's a derivative of the warrior's command of honor. It's God, I'm extremely grateful for the gift of trials and tribulations that bring me closer to you. I use that myself personally. That's powerful. These are all doable. And again, as I've said before, I'm not trying to minimize the loss. I know so much of the materials that people lost was economic value, sentimental value, deep, profound sentimental value. I know that. More than any of us will know. Deeply sentimental, deeply meaningful. I'm not trying to minimize that. But it is true that you can come back stronger than ever. It is true you can ask the question, what's the best true story I can tell myself about this problem? And if you believe in God, you can repeat, God, I'm extremely grateful for the gift of trials and tribulations that bring me closer to you. In these times of loss, people do turn to their divine nature, their higher power, to God, their creator, whatever spiritual path or religion the person follows. It's been my pleasure, my privilege to address what is a disaster in Southern California, what is essentially a national disaster, and to offer a way to transform this tribulation into triumph. And I want to now open it up for all of our wonderful, wonderful people. Your comments, your questions are very illuminating and help the other people who are here as much or even more than what I have to say. So I'm opening this up for you and your wonderful insights, comments, and questions. Yes, Hugh.
The people who have lost all of their material possessions that have to look ahead and see that they're probably going to have fights with insurance companies and then fights with contractors and fights with City Hall. How can they not become overwhelmed with all of what they've had and what they're looking for?
Very good. Well, that's a good question. Hugh, you always make good comments and questions. He's saying the people had not only a huge loss, but now in dealing with the insurance companies, with contractors, if they're going to build up their homes again, dealing with pulling permits, the red tape on getting reestablished back for those who want to stay there, who want to rebuild. And so it's not only what they've been through, but also what it's going to take to go through that. There's no question about that. That for many, that's going to be the journey. That's going to be the journey. And it's going to be frustrating. No question about it. It's going to be frustrating. This is not going to end soon. This transition period is going to be, continue to be filled with trials and tribulations. Continue. Both in terms of the loss and what you're going to have to do in settling into your next situation. No question about it. The best you can do is do a lot of deep breathing and ask this question, what's the most honorable thing I can think, say, and do? The challenge for all of you and for all of us in life is to deal honorably with what's in front of us. We all suffer in life. Nobody escapes. Death, our loved ones are going to die. We're going to die. Our mothers are going to die. Our fathers are going to die. Our spouse, our children, all of us. These big losses. We'll go through trials and tribulations on your jobs, the abuse of power of your supervisors, the process of being on disability, the uncertainties of life, medical situations, legal situations. I will tell you this, all suffering and all happiness are fleeting. Only honor is forever. The goal is to deal honorably with what's in front of you. That's the goal. It's the only approach. It's a life of no regrets. And it's a life and a way of life that leads to a deep contentment. A deep contentment in life. You're not always going to feel, jovial. That's not realistic. Being honorable is. That's very doable. You're dealing with some bureaucrat that's giving you a hard time at the insurance company to get your money. You're angry. You're already frustrated. You have these thoughts. You just want to yell at that person, slap the person, whatever. And your thoughts, you go, I wish you well. Your negativity, your fears, your loss, your sense of grieving, it's real. You didn't choose to have these negative feelings. It's based on your genetics, your family upbringing, societal norms. But you can balance it with constructive, honorable thoughts. It's shining a little bit of light in the darkness. It's not going to be a huge light, a little bit of light in the inner darkness that you're experiencing. That's doable. Absolutely. And that makes all the difference. You have an opportunity to improve yourself in this way, to achieve greater degrees of wisdom and maturity, and to show resiliency, which as American people, we're very resilient. We've been through many difficulties. We're a resilient people. And there's a sense of community that's coming around with people helping each other. I mean, there's looting and one thing, that's the negative side of it. We have people really helping each other, stepping up to the plate and saying, what can I do? And doing whatever can be done. You can deal honorably with it all. Thanks for that excellent question. Excellent. I want to open it up to the rest of you who want to make a comment or ask a question.
Dr. Nerenberg, Diego here.
Diego, good to hear from you, Diego.
Likewise. The topic of growing through trials and tribulations that you just discussed really resonates with me because in 2019, I went through two great losses in my life. So first, girlfriend that I had at the time, she left me. And then a few months after that, my brother passed away unexpectedly at 39 years old. And yeah, I mean, that was one of the toughest times of my life, going through loss in such short amount of time. But yeah, I mean, like you said, you have to go through some of those trials and tribulations sometimes in order to become a better person and to grow as an individual.
Let me tell you something, Diego. Let me interrupt. Excuse me for interrupting because you're making such wonderful points, and we'll come back to you afterwards. Firstly, my condolence for the loss of your brother. I personally rather have my house burned down and everything in it than have my wife leave me or to have a loved one pass away. I'd rather have my house burned down. If I had to pick one, I'd rather have that. Yeah, but that's huge. That's even bigger loss. For me, it would be. And I think for most people, they'd rather have their house and everything in it burned down than lose a sibling that they love and lose a partner that they love. So, and you dealt with it. You're talking about it. Do you feel it made you wiser or more compassionate, or it didn't do that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Obviously, it wasn't easy, because that was the most challenging time of my life, but particularly the loss of my brother. That was the hardest thing that I've ever had to go through. But, I did put in the work, and it was very uncomfortable, but that's a part of growth. Growth isn't comfortable. You have to stretch yourself to your limits in order to become a better person. And one of the things that I focused on was finding meaning. That's actually one of the stages of grief as well, one of the many stages of grief, finding meaning in the loss. And yeah, I put in the work. I found a lot of meaning. I became a better person overall. Did you turn
more to your divine nature, your spiritual nature, God, your creator, anything of that sort?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that I had realized with that was that I'm an empath, that I'm a very sensitive empath, and that kind of helped me tap into that and understand it a bit more, and just become a better, wiser person in many ways. And wasn't easy, but I think that was a catalyst in many ways for me to become the person I am now, the man that I become now, more honorable, like you said.
Well, I could tell, Diego, that even your talking, your face, your presence, your tone of voice, I size people up like that. I could feel the power of yourself. I could feel the maturity of your whole being. And I believe that's part of what formed the great man that I'm looking at right now.
Thank you, Doctor.
That's what I see. Strong.
Thank you.
Vulnerable. We're all vulnerable. And knowing how to deal with that vulnerability, facing it, and going beyond it, that's power.
Thank you, Doctor. And just wanted to thank you and Bert and the rest of your team there, just with everything that you guys do for us. It helps out a lot.
Well, thank you. I'll pass that along, Diego. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you so much. Well, it's been my pleasure and my privilege to be able to present to you The Fires of Los Angeles, the tragedy and the blessing.
The sea of destiny is in your deepest struggle. God's will and mine be one, and I wish you well. You are co-creator, respectfully real. There's a way in the valley that turns weakness to steel. We're known through all eternity, from strife we gain power, clothed in grace and love, disciples of honor. All the days of our lives refuse the way of shame. We wish nobody harm, have no one to blame. Your high calling will be done, and pure eyes now glow. In darkness crave the good, like waters from the desert flow. I pledge my love all the days of my life. I pledge my soul to all that is good. I pledge my heart to my brothers and sisters, who I join in the light, leave a legacy of honor. We're known through all eternity, from strife we gain power, clothed in grace and love, disciples of honor. All the days of our lives refuse the way of shame. We wish nobody harm, have no one to blame. Your high calling will be done, and pure eyes now glow. In darkness crave the good, like waters from the desert flow.